Animals can be very loving and loyal friends, but we should not take them for granted. Hi, I'm Christopher Monroe from Panasonic Kid Witness News, and it doesn't matter if your pet is a large horse or a tiny goldfish. All animals have needs: a home, space, good food, fresh water, exercise, and companionship.
First of all, if you are a pet owner, to make sure that you become aware of the needs of the pet, to take care of them, to provide them with medical attention, to obey the laws, keep them home, be a responsible pet owner.
Millions of people share their homes with pets who become well-loved family members, but these are the lucky ones. Stories about animal cruelty are heartbreaking, like neighborhood kids setting a dog on fire, a cat's tail is pulled off, or animals are beaten and kept in horrible conditions.
We've seen dogs that have come in that have been abused. We've seen cats that have been abused. We've seen birds and reptiles and snakes. We've seen wild animals that have come in, like squirrels or pigeons or opossums, all sorts of animals. When people abuse animals, they aren't limited to just dogs or cats. There are all kinds of abuses going on.
There are owners who do not provide proper shelter, food, or medical care. And many animals are simply dumped and abandoned because they are no longer wanted. Some people think that humans are better than animals. They think that animals have no feelings or thoughts. The truth is, animals, just like humans, experience happiness, sadness, fear, pain, anger, and boredom. It is a fact that animals can suffer. They are not toys or playthings.
There's now a bill before the state that is attempting to make animal abuse a felony. We have taken part in that and tried through the last several years. The roadblock has seemed to be that some people are telling us that there's some pretty poor child abuse laws, and why should we make animal abuse a higher crime than child abuse? And what we're saying is definitely there's a coalition there. It ties in together. We certainly want both to be a felony, but that there is a definite tie-in, so we do need to keep pushing for animal cruelty to be a felony.
Although animal cruelty is a serious issue, in doing our research, we came across some very scary information.
There is a profound connection between animal abuse and human violence, because if we allow our animals to be abused, usually that kind of behavior will resurface as they get older, and it will be transferred to human violence.
Well, humane societies, and specifically the Humane Society of the United States, has known for years that there has been a connection between those that abuse animals and those that abuse people.
There is a very big connection between the two kinds of abuse. One thing that we have been seeing recently is that whenever there is a situation of any sort of domestic violence, any kind of abuse in the home, many times, if there is a pet in that home, that pet is also a victim of abuse.
There is a strong connection between animal cruelty and human violence. Often, the abuse of animals by children is a sign that some form of abuse is going on in that child's home. Pets are sometimes killed to punish kids for something they have done. Abused children may take out their anger or frustration on a pet. And at times, children may kill their pet rather than see them hurt by the adult abuser in their home.
If there is an abusive situation going on, let's say someone in the home is threatening somebody else, that person, the person who's doing the threatening, may not specifically say, I'm going to hurt you. What they may say is, I'm going to hurt your animal if you don't do what I want you to do. So they'll threaten the person by threatening that person's pet. Because the person loves the pet very much, they don't want to see the pet hurt, they'll do what the threatening person asks them to do, or what they tell them to do, because they want to protect the animal.
Adults show children how to behave. Children raised in abusive homes may copy this behavior with animals and people. Research shows that children who abuse animals are most likely to grow up to be violent adults.
We can nip this in an early age and talk about, we don't abuse our animals. We can help the youngsters as they get older not to get into human violence, yes.
We found many articles that connect animal cruelty to human violence. No longer can cruelty to animals be passed off with "it's only a dumb animal" attitude. As humans, we have a responsibility to stop acts of cruelty and neglect toward animals as a means of stopping violence to humans.
Statistics are showing that somewhere around 90% of individuals that's in prison for committing violent crimes had an early history of animal abuse. All serial killers that are known had an early history of abusing animals. So again, this doesn't mean that everybody that abuses an animal is going to grow up to abuse people, but enough has happened to show that there is a definite link, and it is something that must be treated seriously. So animal cruelty can lead to a lot worse things with violence among humans.
If you let them continue to start killing animals, eventually they're going to have this tolerance built up inside of them where a death means nothing.
Many of the serial killers have started off abusing animals when they were children. Probably one of the more famous serial killers, Jeffrey Dahmer, we've seen was an animal abuser as a child. Many of the other ones, the Son of Sam, the Boston Strangler, all of these serial killers did have a history of animal abuse.
Agencies like the Humane Society of the United States and the Anti-Cruelty Society have been taking steps to educate people about this problem.
We started this movement and started to educate individuals in the animal protection arena, the animal welfare arena, and in the last few years we've focused on people that deal with domestic and human violence, police departments, educators, attorneys, law enforcement, people that civil servants, and so on. So we now hold workshops to show them the link between animal cruelty and human abuse or human violence. So it definitely is there.
We go out to schools. We see over 40,000 students a year. We also will try to get out into the community and talk to people out there. We are constantly trying to work on putting out education materials into the communities.
It is the responsibility of teachers, parents, and kids to take a stand against cruelty and violence.
The laws can only be as effective as the people who help to report the abuses.
What can we do? Here's what you can do. Teachers, recognize it as something serious and don't let it slip by. Take steps to get a closer look at the family. If you suspect a problem, report it to the principal.
So it is important to act on any cases of abuse that are known about. One thing that schools can do is really first recognize that this connection does exist. Once we do recognize that this connection exists, we can work with local agencies such as animal shelters, such as child abuse advocacy groups, with all these different organizations to bring an awareness about in the community. Because once the community is aware of this problem, once we understand that this problem exists and we know that maybe there are some ways to stop these problems, then we can all work together toward solving these problems.
And teachers should contact humane education agencies for lesson plans or workshops that can be used in the classroom for better understanding.
Well, one of the programs of the Humane Society of the United States, we have an educational division, and we have what's called Adopt a Teacher, or Kind News, sort of like the Weekly Reader that you may be familiar with. The Kind News goes in at different grade levels, kindergarten through 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and 5th and 6th. It's 3 grade levels. And it has a lot of information on the needs of animals, how you can help animals, how to take care of animals. And your teachers can order that, or you can get sponsors. There's also a teacher's guide that accompanies it. And so you are learning humane education right there in the classroom as part of your curriculum. Again, also to educate others then from what you learn about animals and the needs of animals. It's a